thank you so much for joining Marshall and I here today at Re-Written Vintage Homestead. I hope everyone's having a great week and you're getting a lot done, enjoying the last few days of summer, just like we are. It's so hard to believe it's already August, and now is the time we're really getting busy harvesting. But it's not too late. I want you to remember it's not too late. I've had some of my produce didn't make it. The rabbits and the deer. So you're not always going to have victories. My green beans were looking really good until the rabbits got a hold of them and started eating the tops. So I had to come out and build a fence around my delicate vegetables like my Roma tomatoes, my green beans, my potatoes, my carrots, so that the little rabbits couldn't get to them. But it's not too late. I wanted you to see that I planted a new row of green beans and they're popping up, and those will be ready in September. So just because my first crop didn't do as well doesn't mean you can't strive for a second crop. And I'm also just getting ready to plant some more onions and sweet potatoes. So all of those are, you know, the weather is still fine for those if you live in the Midwest. And you can have a second crop. So you want to always be succession planting. And during this harvest season, I'll be honest with you, this is probably the most anxious I have been about putting foods away and making sure that my pantry is built sufficiently for the winter. It's so hard not to listen to what's going on in the world today and stay calm and even keel and not become anxious. And there's just so much going on right now. So one of the things, as you know, we're still involved in the Ukraine conflict between Russia. The United States has given billions of dollars to support Ukraine in money and also in weaponry. So that seems like it's going to be a never-ending conflict that could draw us into the middle of it, which it has already as far as our economy. And then you have China. So Nancy Pelosi had a trip planned to Taiwan, and Taiwan has always been an American ally since after World War II. But China has never acknowledged them as a sovereign nation. China has always said they're a part of China. And so that basically they said if Nancy Pelosi comes and visits, it's war. And they even threatened to shoot her planes down. Well, she made it. She's there today. But do you guys think this was just an empty threat? They've been saying over and over and over again, this is war. This is an act of war. If she goes over there and lands today, it's an act of war. Now remember, there's all kinds of war. You don't have to have hand-to-hand combat all the time or nuclear weaponry. They can cut us off. So my husband and I had a big discussion about this. My question was, what is the urgency for Nancy Pelosi to go to Taiwan right now? Why? Why can't it wait? Why does she need to go? Especially with all these threats that are being thrown at the United States. We also know that China is backing Russia in their fight with Ukraine. So the potential of a World War III is not over the top, I don't feel. And it makes me anxious thinking about it. But I didn't understand why she had to go. Well, my husband's viewpoint, and he is not a Nancy Pelosi lover, but his viewpoint was, who are they to tell us where we can go and where we can't? You know, we're Americans. We should be able to travel wherever we want to go. And especially to go visit an ally, and it's not anything that's out of the norm. A lot of other states' people have already been there. But my view was, why now? There's a conflict going on already. We don't need another one. We're already at record inflation. Things will be hard to get. So I see both sides of the argument. We should be able to travel and do what we want to do and go where we want to go, right? We're Americans after all, but it's just a different time right now in our nation's history, and we're living through it. Let's say that China does call in their chips. What would that mean to us? If they don't attack us militarily and they don't use nuclear weapons on us, what could that mean? Well, they could block the way we import and export goods between Taiwan and the United States, which we get a lot of goods from Taiwan. That the waterway between us, they could block that. So there we have more problems with shipping. As we know, China owns our energy grid as it is. Even those of you who really like wind turbines and solar power as renewable sources of energy, those components, those panels, those turbines are all made in China. So they could cut those off. But not only that, we are not producing our own energy anymore. We're reliant on other countries. And as you know, we just made a trip to the Middle East begging for more fuel. So it isn't something where, okay, you guys, they've shut us off, we're going to start producing now. You can't do it overnight. It takes time. So we could have rolling blackouts. Our computers, the way we communicate with each other, our computer chips, all of those are made in China. So they could cut us off. They could cut us off from the way that we're able to get warnings and messages out to each other. So much anymore that we rely on comes from China. And this has taken place over 10, 15 years slowly. And the warnings were out there. I don't really think people were taking them seriously, especially our politicians. Some of them were always saying our biggest threat is China, but I really don't see where they were really trying to pull those manufacturing jobs out of China and back to the United States. So we're so reliant on them for so much of what we use every day. And I've always said it's absolutely ridiculous to try to get rid of American history and true American history, because you learn from your mistakes. Just like a child who goes up to a stove and tries to touch the burner and you smack their hands and say, don't do that. If they didn't learn from that smack, they're going to sure learn when they touch it, right? So you have to be able to learn from your mistakes. So let's look at how things were handled during World War II. I found this really interesting note that was put out by General Mills to the women of America during World War II in the name of Betty Crocker. I don't even know if Betty Crocker still exists today or not, but she wrote a letter, and it was addressed to the women of America, and it says, "Hail to the women of America. You have taken up your heritage from the brave women of the past. Just as did the women of other wars, you have taken your positions as soldiers on the home front." And that's how I feel. I feel like we are soldiers on the home front, no matter if you're man or woman. You have been strengthening your country's defenses as plane watchers, as flyers, as members of the armed forces, as producers in war plants and home, and in the Red Cross and civilian defense activities. The efforts and accomplishments of women today are boundless. And that's the truth. We're in the Army, we're in the Navy, we're in the Marines now, right? So that is a big change from World War II. But whatever else you do, you are first and foremost homemakers. Well, some of us, right? Some of us have jobs outside of the home now. Some of us are homemakers only. Some of us have careers that we have to hire other people to take care of the homes for us. But the point of it is your family should be first. I believe that's the main idea behind this. Your family's welfare should be first. Women should have the welfare of your families deepest in your hearts. And that's the truth. Now you face a new and more difficult problem managing your homes. You must make a little do where there was an abundance before. Well, we're already doing that with inflation at over 9.1%. When we used to be able to go out to eat, we don't go out to eat like we did. When we used to be able to drive and go visit friends and family or just go shopping because we were bored, we're saving those trips now for necessities such as work because of the price of gas. In spite of sectional problems and shortages, you must prepare satisfying meals out of your share of what there is. Now, I have a video, several videos back, where our Secretary of Agriculture was talking about that, about being more globally aware with our food. The government request to increase the use of available foods and save those that are scarce, and at the same time safeguard your family's nutrition. Never has there been such an opportunity and a need for what American women can contribute. So to you women behind the men, behind the guns, we offer this little book with its daily helps for wartime meal planning and cooking. And we salute you all. So, home first, right? Something else that happened within the last week is Senator Manchin has decided to sign on with President Biden's scaled down version of the Build Back Better bill. But it's now called something like Restoration Bill to help the United States citizens out of inflation. What's interesting about that bill, and I encourage you to look it up, is that you can't, you know, these government bigwigs, they can't reduce anything without adding something on. And inside that bill are billions and billions of dollars for green energy. And so there's more money being handed out and handed out. So we're going to see inflation go even higher than what it is. Very little of that bill actually reduces anything for anyone, and it's just a label for more spending in our economy. So it's so important that we really start focusing on these things like old Betty Crocker said, and that's the home front, and that's our finances, and that's our pantries. So all of this turmoil that's going on in the world today, with Ukraine, with China, with Russia, with the United States, with inflation, it's all got me thinking about the homestead, and I hope you are too. And I hope you have a real sense of urgency about taking care of your family, your finances, and getting things in order. Now, do I think we're going to have a complete food shortage where we can't go to the store and find things? No, but I don't think it's so far-fetched that there won't be rations on things that we're allowed to have. We're already seeing it, right? With baby formula. And remember what happened during the pandemic with toilet paper. So these things aren't out of the realm of thought that they could really happen. So as I told you before, I've been feeling a little bit of anxiety over all of this. I worry about our young men and women that may be sent into a conflict that was unnecessary. That bothers me most of all. But the best thing you can do if you're anxious, no matter what you're anxious over, is to get busy, get moving, and get busy, and put some action to that anxiety. And so that's what I'm going to do. And what I would like to do for the next several videos is talk about pantry building, talk about seed saving, talk about it's time to be cleaning out our freezers and our storage areas and getting ready for this harvest. Talk about budgeting. All of those things are very important, and they're going to really be important within the next several months. So I hope everybody will join me for my series. It's going to be called Boots on the Ground, and let's get busy, right? Even if you don't have a garden, you guys, go out to Aldi, go out to the dollar store, stock up on what you can. Look at your recipes and see what you eat most often and what you need to get. If you have a freezer, start going through your freezer, use up what you can because of the new harvest that's coming in or sales that might be happening. Now is a great time to be buying beef if you can. There are a lot of farmers that raise beef cattle that they're selling them off because they can't afford the feed. So keep that in mind and be looking for those beef bargains, okay? So the first of our series is going to be on pantry, what it is, how to build it, how to use it. The second part of our series, Boots on the Ground, is going to be about cleaning out our freezers and our cupboards and using what we have to make room for what's coming in. The third part of our series is going to be on budgeting and how to create a budget and how to use it and how to stick to it if you fall off the wagon. We're also going to be talking about seed saving and why that's important and anything else that we think of, guys. It's time to get busy, like old Betty Crocker said, and here's to you. Hope you guys have a great week. Thank you for joining me. Leave a comment below. Let me know your ideas. What are you doing to be prepared?